Shalom, YouTube. So it's super early in the morning. This video has been, I don't know if it's been hard to do, or I don't know if I guess I am nervous to do this video, and I shouldn't be, because the Father says that you shouldn't be. But, if what I'm saying doesn't align with what you believe in, please no rude comments, because that's not what we're supposed to do to each other, right? We're supposed to love thy neighbor. Well, first we're supposed to love Yah, God, and then we're supposed to love thy neighbor. And we're not supposed to criticize or condemn people, right? So if you feel that you need to post a hateful comment, you please don't. If you have questions regarding if you are a Christian, just please listen. I mean, because we're supposed to listen to everybody, right? If you're on the fence of not sure, just listen. Anyways, so Steve and I guess you can say that we are whole Bible believers. We're not Jewish. I don't really consider us as any denomination or any religion. We believe in Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and wholeheartedly, and we just follow the whole Bible. And the reason why we have decided to follow the whole Bible is because Yeshua followed the Old Testament. The New Testament wasn't written when Yeshua was alive. And like my biggest thing is that in Matthew 5:17, he says in the New Testament that he did not come to abolish the law or abolish the prophets, meaning as he's talking about the Old Testament. And not one jot, no one little letter, I'm paraphrasing here, but you can go read it, Matthew 5:17, until heaven and earth disappear. We're still here. So earth hasn't disappeared. As far as I know, heaven hasn't disappeared. So anyways, so Steve and I got here, COVID, the beginning of COVID. Now we've always known that there was a higher person, right? Higher power. We just didn't like church. Didn't feel right in churches. Just felt like it was always about money. And just, I don't know, just didn't sit right. So then I had the mindset for the longest time that you don't need to go to church to praise or worship Yah or have a loving relationship with Jesus and Yah. And you don't. I mean, all you have to do is read your Bible and spread the word, right? But anyways, so we listened to an absolutely phenomenal brother on YouTube, and the little seeds just kept getting, little seeds. They kept getting planted and then watered, and then here we are 2 years later. But anyways, that's for anybody who wants to know, Bear Independent. So anyways, so we're here, and I guess I guess you could say I'm a recovering drug addict. since 2007, I have been clean from meth. I didn't go through any treatments. There was a couple things. I had my kids taken away, and I fought for them, and I did get them back. And then I met Steve, and Yah has always been with us, even though we weren't doing what we were supposed to. He's always been with us. I mean, I guess there's several car accidents that I should have died in that I didn't. Several things that my life should have gone a very different, on a very big different turn, that where incidences should have happened with me as regarding the law, or maybe even trafficked. Like, it's crazy. But the Father was with me, and so none of that really actually happened. And then since coming to, I guess you can say, since coming to Torah and following the commands, and the reason why we follow the commands is, like I said, Yeshua, and we call him Yeshua. I'm not sure what, you can call him Jesus. We also refer to him as the Messiah. Basically, we all believe the same thing, right? I mean, if you believe in Jesus Christ and you believe in the Messiah, Yeshua, then we all believe in the same person. I mean, the devil goes by many different names, and so does Yeshua, and we refer to him as Yeshua, and then God is Elohim and Yahweh. But anyways, so Steve reads the scriptures, and I have my Bible that I got from my grandfather years ago, and it's it's a study Bible. But pretty much it all has the same stuff in it. Words might be changed a little bit. Steve's scriptures, they go, they call Yah and Elohim and Yeshua, and, Moses is Moshe. And then, of course, Egypt is Mitzrayim. So it's got like some Hebrew in it, which is really neat. But we're here following this path. And then the reason why we do everything we do on this channel with the sheep and the chickens and the gardens, all on our little tiny acre, because we need to, what's the S word? Oh my gosh. I always do this with the, oh my gosh. We need to do as much as we can with the land that the Father has given us. And we can actually do a lot on a little acre. It's crazy. It's crazy. But just everything that we have seen since coming to Torah. And not all commands we can keep, because some of those commands, I mean, for me, I'm a woman, so some of those commands are for men, some of those commands are for women, some of those commands are for the high priests and for the temple. We don't have a temple anymore. We don't have high priests anymore. I mean, sure, if you go to Jerusalem, maybe. I'm not sure, but all I know is we are doing the best. We are doing the best to our broken ability that we can. And I love that song from Casting Crowns. I think that's what it is. It's called Nobody. Because I am nobody. I was definitely the outcast, dorky kid, until I tried to be cool and got into drugs, and, then I had more friends than I ever had before. But I don't talk to those people anymore. Some I do, very rarely, very on occasion. yeah, and some of them, they don't agree. They don't agree with my life, but or the way I believe or anything like that, and they say that I've changed. No, I've matured. I've matured greatly since 2007, especially, and then coming off the drugs. But there's something pulling on my heart that I feel I need to, with all the trafficking that goes on in this world, I don't know how to do it, and we'll figure it out, and y'all will help us figure it out. But somehow, some way, and not necessarily minister, because I'm not a minister. I, like to be like Sister Jennifer, Sister Jen. Need to help addicts, alcoholics, drug addicts, whatever it is. And I guess this is going more off of my testimony, I guess, more away from that. But I just feel a yearning to help people to come to God, and get away from the addictions. So yeah, it's, I don't know, it's been, we've definitely, we definitely see where the Father has tested us, and we've overcome. And when Yah says to jump, you need to jump. So we're not being told to jump to a new home. I definitely don't feel that, but I have felt that I've been told to jump. For instance, going to my kids, and this is part of the reason where I'm starting to get that pull. And this is just one instance of where I'm getting that pull to help addicts. I mean, I have the experience of being an addict myself and being down in that hole. So that's one of them. And then another one is that my kid's dad, so Steve, I mean, they're older. My youngest is 20. And I've got 2. But anyways, so their biological dad, he actually just passed away at the beginning of this month. And not sure. I don't think it was drugs. But he still had an addiction to pills. And whether or not he had don't think he died of an overdose or anything like that, but his body, from all the drugs, and never quite, and going from, yes, he didn't, I don't believe he did meth as much as he, when we were together, but he went from meth to popping pills. So, I mean, he didn't overcome an addiction at all. He just substituted one for the other. But his body just couldn't handle it. And I think he still did pills. I mean, he did have pain and all kinds of stuff. But anyways, so I just, this kind of went off the rails of my testimony here, and of what we do and why we're doing it. But so anyways, so there's a lot of reasons why we follow the way we do. The biggest one is, when people are wearing like or back in what was that, in the 90s or whatever it was, early 2000s, and people would wear "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets. I really think of now, Jesus followed the Torah, the commandments. And people say that he was placed on the cross and died for our sins, which did away with the law. But then that makes me go back to Matthew 5:17 when he says, "I'm not here to abolish the law." That didn't mean when he died that the law was over. I mean, Paul was, he wasn't a disciple when Jesus was alive. He became a disciple afterwards. or apostle, whatever you want to call him, apostle. But he was working on being a Pharisee or a Sadducee. Not 100% sure on that. I mean, we're still learning. Every day we learn something new. But anyways, he was working on being a teacher of the law, right? He was a Jew. And then he didn't believe in Jesus at all, Yeshua. And he wanted to kill him. He wanted to kill him and the disciples. And so after Jesus died, he was hunting them down, right? And then Jesus blinded him on the way to Damascus and then healed him. And so then he became a follower of Jesus and he started preaching. But there's no way. There's no way that I can believe that the disciples and the apostles, they did Passover with Jesus. They did Sukkot with Jesus. They did all the feasts with Jesus. A lot of the times when you see that they're in Jerusalem, there's always a feast followed behind that, or during that. So why would they stop that then? Because that would also be in remembrance of when they were with Jesus, their Messiah. So why would they have quit those feasts? Why would they have told us to quit those feasts? They never did tell us to quit those feasts. And those feasts have certain meanings. When the Egyptians, or when the Israelites got to come out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, the Feast of Unleavened Bread and Passover and stuff like that. And so Jesus celebrated all that. And the disciples were with him at those times. So why would we quit celebrating those? I mean, if we did, it's almost, I guess it's almost like, I guess if you want to think about it, if a loved one passes near a holiday and you don't want to celebrate that anymore, but this was Jesus, Messiah. And they were spreading the word, so they didn't forget about it. And so everything changed over the course of, and there's a lot of study that you can do, about, holidays that we do. It's all wrapped around, you can do the studies, and the truth hurts. The truth really, really hurts. And it's none of our pastors' faults. It's none of our ministers' faults. It's just that the truth has gotten so, the truth is so far away now. It's kind of like that telephone game. And take that telephone game, and it's been being played, for how many years? And so the truth kind of, it's no longer. But anyway, so in order to bring some of the pagans into following God, Christians, started doing it on their days. And there's a lot of study. You can go find so many studies about it. You can find YouTube videos about people talking about it, and actually having the backup, study to where you can even go search it yourself to see what they said is right. It's really sad. It's really sad. But if you don't want to believe that, it's your conviction. That's between you and Yah, you and the Father. It's not between me and you. Like Jesus said, when the Pharisees, Jesus was mad at the Pharisees. He wasn't mad at the law. The Pharisees had taken the law and stacked on it with traditions of men. And aren't we told in the New and the Old Testament to watch out for the traditions of men? And I can't say the quotes. I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. None of us are. And so it doesn't matter how many verses or anything you memorize. It's all about what's in your heart. But at the same time, I also believe that we can't take a pagan holiday and call it in the name of God, because that's not God's holidays. And then we're doing similar things, but to make it look better now, we're doing similar things to make it look like it's Yah. Like when Moses was on the mount for 40 days, and the Israelites thought, he had passed away and wasn't coming back, or that they lost him, and then they lost their connection to talk to God through Moses, right? And they made the golden calf. And they had been told not to worship false idols. And Aaron said, tomorrow we will worship this golden calf in the name of the Father. Was he happy about that? Was God happy about that? He wasn't happy about that. He was actually really irritated with that, because it was you were taking not a false idol of being somebody else, because it does say, Aaron said, we will worship this in the name of Yahweh, or in the name of God. So you can't take something that's not God and call it God, right? So he was mad about that. So how can we take holidays that are not God, that are from other religions, how can we take those and make them ours and call it in the name of God or Yahweh? I don't believe we should. That's just, and like I said, there's definitely a whole bunch of study that you can do on how certain holidays came to be. When Jesus died, that was during Passover. Jesus died on Passover. Anyways, so this is our testimony. I hope that to get to know us a little bit more, well, not our testimony. This is my testimony. Steve can tell you his a little bit more. I'm sure that there's a lot of things that I missed. I've tried thinking of how to say my testimony, of how to discuss it. Why we're here, but hopefully that kind of explains everything and what we do here, what we're doing with the, sorry, my hand started to hurt. Steve will probably be doing his testimony once he feels convicted to do so. I just felt that I needed to get this done and get this put out there. But yeah, it's like I said, it's not that our pastors and ministers have been wrong or have lied to us, but they don't even know what the truth is. And to think of Yeshua, Jesus, as a, like Bear says, like a beta male in a pink polo. Oh, love the world. Yes, he was like that. But he also put the force down when it needed to be. When they were, on Sabbath, when in the temple, when they had like a market going on, and tax collectors collecting money, and people selling goods, and all this stuff in the temple, Jesus flipped tables. And a rope came out of the air, and he was mad. And those tables weren't like our tables that we have today. Those tables were heavy tables, made of acacia wood, I'm sure. It didn't even matter. They were heavy back then, right? Because everything that we have now is so much more easier than what it was how many years ago. So you can guarantee that they weren't light tables, and Jesus was flipping them and irritated that because on the Sabbath, you are to worship God. Like everything you do that day is for Yah. All day long. From sunset, we do it sunset Friday night to sunset Saturday night. And it's just all about Yah. And then that's why the Pharisees were also mad at Jesus at times too, because Jesus would heal people on the Sabbath. And it says you're not supposed to do any work on the Sabbath. But we had a lady just stop here on Saturday, which is our Sabbath. We had a lady stop by. She said, she's like, oh my gosh, she goes, I was just in my head having all these thoughts. And she goes, I'm not going to make it to the next gas. We're about 3-4 miles from the closest gas station. She goes, I'm not going to make it. She goes, do you all have gas? Or can you take me to the gas station to go get some gas? We have a mindset, if you're watching this channel, to be prepared. So yeah, we gave her, I don't know how much gas Steve gave her, but all I know is that we had gas for her. But it's like Jesus said, like if your neighbor had his donkey in the ditch and was struggling to get him out of the ditch, would you just walk on by because it was the Sabbath and you're not supposed to do any work? No, you have to love thy neighbor and you have to help people out. That's where we get the term donkey in a ditch, you know? So anyways, I hope I didn't bounce around too many times, and hopefully you continue to follow us and see where we go from here, because the Father is taking us somewhere, and I'm not sure where it is. But we're going somewhere. And I'm not sure how we're going to get there, but he'll tell us. So anyways, shalom, y'all. Have a blessed week. Like I said, please, no rude comments about how we follow. If you don't believe anything that I have said, no rude comments are necessary. You can just go on your merry way. Anyways, shalom.